Hi, I'm Katie Carefoot with Farmer's Edge. I'm product owner for Egg PhD Soils, and I'm here to talk to you today about using the recommendation function in Egg PhD Soils and making custom blends and exporting controller files for your farm. To start a recommendation and to create controller files and a custom blend, you can click on the recommendations button for that job. As you can see, I already have a numerous amount of recommendations for this field. These recommendations are posted, and you can see the PDF map reports and download the controller files for them here. To add a new recommendation or to edit one, you click the plus button or select a recommendation and hit edit. To add a new recommendation, click the plus button. You'll have to select your crop, type in your target yield, and type the controller type that you would like to export controller files for to be able to put into your monitor to apply to your field. If you're unsure which controller type you have, you can click the question mark button here and you'll see a spreadsheet that shows you the controller types and what the file type it is created. It will tell you a little bit of information about that controller as well. So if I select a green star shapefile, it will put that shapefile in an RX folder for me, and I can use it in my John Deere GS2, GS3, or GS4 monitors. If I don't want a controller file, I can also select non-PDF, and if I want a shapefile, it will export a generic shapefile for you. Other couple notes is that we might be missing some file types and monitors from this list. Please see your controller monitor user manual to ensure that you're exporting the correct file. Also, some Trimble monitors can use shapefiles, but they need to be in the correct file tree format. So you can export a shapefile from the site, but then see your Trimble user manual for some guidance on how to put that in the right file tree. So I'll select a green star shapefile, and I'll click next. My recommendation type, we have Midwest Labs recommendations, which are a maintenance type recommendation, and we have Egg PhD build and balance. I also can select if I want to use nitrogen credits from a previous crop, so whether that's crop soybeans, and if I want to adjust to credit for this nitrogen. If I do want to credit for the nitrogen, it'll credit 50 pounds of nitrogen for my recommendation. So my recommendation will be reduced by 50 pounds because I have a previous crop that is has mineralized more nitrogen, has fixed nitrogen, and has a high to CEN ratio and breakdown. To then continue, then I start with my prescriptions. So I can create a prescription for any nutrient that's within this list. So nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, your macros, as well as a numerous amount of micros. Lime is also in this list, as well as calcium. So if you are doing a recommendation to change pH due to pH, you would have to select lime. If you're doing a recommendation to adjust the amount of calcium in your soil that's needed by your crop, select the calcium recommendation. So I'm going to do a nitrogen recommendation using urea, but I want to use solid urea, 4600. What I need to do then is I need to put in my costs if I would like to. I'm going to say that I have a $6 an acre application cost. And my cost per ton for 46, I'm going to say $325 a ton. My machine settings, when I get down to here, I can put a minimum rate and a maximum rate in. If I want my machine to apply a 0 rate, if it recommends a 0 rate, I can check this box. If I don't want my machine to apply a 0 rate and I want it to apply a minimum rate instead, I will uncheck this, but then I have to put in a minimum rate. So I'd have to put in a rate of 50 pounds. If I'd like to adjust my prescription ahead of time before the recommendation is run, say if I've applied manure or I've already applied a certain amount of product to the field, I can adjust it down or up by a percent, by a product rate, or by the amount of element that I want. So my product rate of, say, 100 pounds of 4600, or my element rate, if I want to adjust it by 10 pounds of N, then I would select this. So if I select product rate, then I would have to type in a value. I can also add a custom blend here as well. So if I have a blend that I've created with my fertilizer dealer that's custom for my farm, I can enter it here. So I will put in a custom blend. And I will mark which primary nutrients, meaning which drop down that it will show up in here. So if I just want it to show up in the nitrogen element, then I would select nitrogen. If I also want it to show up in phosphorus and potassium, the other nutrients that I have in this blend, I would also select those. What I do need to put in is a fertilizer name so that I can select it in the drop down. And my fertilizer name, I'm going to put demo fertilizer. It can be a fertilizer name that you select. I would recommend to put in the guaranteed analysis for this blend as well, if it is 351255. And the RX name is going to be important for the actual controller file. The attribute type, so this will be a 4-letter word. It has to be letters, cannot be numbers. And you put it in there so that when you're selecting this prescription in your monitor, you'll know what the RX is. You can also specify whether it's a solid or a liquid. If it is a liquid, you do need to specify a bulk density. Then you hit submit, and this new product will be available in your drop-down menu. So demo fertilizer, 331255. Once you're done with your recommendation, you can click submit, and it will process your recommendation. So it'll produce recommendation maps as well as controller files for this. So for the controller files, once the results are posted and you create a recommendation, you can view the map reports. So there is a recommendation map and a prescription map. What the recommendation map shows you is every element that's available to be recommended, what is recommended for the field. What the prescription map shows is the products that you applied, what they're actually prescribed to the field. So if you wanted to view recommendations, you would view these PDF maps, and it'll show you which nutrients are recommended by nutrient. So this would be zinc for each area of your field. So zinc, boron, potassium, manganese, magnesium, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, iron, calcium, copper, and what would be applied for lime. As well, if you go to prescription, this is where I had previously done a 4600 urea fertilizer application with a diammonium phosphate application as well. And it does show me what the rates are recommended in each area of the field, as well as the information that I entered in for the field here. So a minimum machine rate, my total applied area, if I had entered cost, what my costs were as well, and how much product I need to bring to that field. To download my controller files, I just click this download button and it downloads as a zip file to my computer, and I can open it and export it onto a USB and put it onto my controller.